Hey there, thanks for joining us at the Rabbit Hole of Research, where you'll learn a few facts that you can impress your friends with at a party.
Hey, welcome back down here to the basement studio in the Rabbit Hole of Research. This here is Joe.
You got Nick. What up?
Hi,
That's,
Georgia.
Georgia, if you didn't know. Yeah, and we also have a guest. We do it a little differently every time, but yeah, we go ahead and give yourself a little shout out.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Mary Schons, and you're going from a physicist to a friend of George's.
Yeah.
And I asked to be on the podcast. I'm really excited to talk about this subject.
The multiverse is the topic here, and that was actually a fan request. Alex from YouTube.
Thank you, Alex.
asked about the multiverse. So
very good.
we figured we'd throw it in, and it's a fun one to cover.
If you ever get a chance to, read his comments on YouTube. He does a really good in-depth into it.
Yep. So thanks for listening. All the listeners, we've been getting some really good feedback and banter about different things on it. So
We do always read the comments. If you ever have something to say, let us know. You know, it's always fun to go back and forth with y'all.
if you have a episode idea,
Questions or things you don't think that Joe got right.
There's a
Very
list
I'll
of
definitely
them.
chime in with those.
yes, you can do that. And please subscribe on our Substack. If you want the emails when the episodes come out, subscribe there. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can like us there. And Apple, you can subscribe to get the podcasts as they release. So you'll always be in the know, and you'll know what we're always talking about.
If we know what
That's
we're
right.
talking about.
If it's this universe first.
I promise to say when I don't know what the heck I'm talking about.
That's good.
Yeah, everything will just come with a content warning.
Yeah.
Not that kind of
That's
That'll
a constant
say that.
overlay for
Like
me.
a disclaimer.
Everyone already knows
That's
that
right.
one. They're like, all right,
Yeah.
Nick's talking. Hold on. Let's see. There's a lot of hand wavium there.
Lots of hand waving.
And have you ever heard that word hand wavium?
I have.
Before our podcast?
Before
Like,
this podcast, yes. I used to spend a lot of time in fanfic world.
Okay.
So so that would be used quite a bit.
Yeah. The multiverse, as we've been doing, I don't know, the last several episodes, I give a little bit of grounding and a list. So I won't break tradition.
Oh, no, another list?
Another list. You guys know you love the lists.
Yeah.
Love
So
to
this
break
kind of
them.
the concept
wait.
of the multiverse.
What are we drinking?
What are you drinking here, Joe?
Oh, sorry. I was about to get. I want to get into multiverse. We spent a lot of time.
Okay,
leading
We'll
in.
have to ground ourselves
really-
first.
Well,
and
we
then-
got to talk about that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm drinking a Pipeworks Ninja versus Unicorn. It's a double India Pale Ale. So
I've got Infinity Hero
Infinity,
by
yeah.
Revolution
Good
IPA.
stuff.
And, of course, a Liquid Death.
always.
Mango Chainsaw. Not sponsored.
Yep. There it is.
maybe someday.
Yeah.
Please sponsor me. I
Next
love this
season.
water.
So I am also drinking the Unicorn versus what I say zombies. No, Ninja versus
right. That's a
Unicorn.
different universe.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Ninja versus Unicorns.
You
And
listen to the
yeah.
zombie episode. Nick goes all through how he's going to have his katana
oh, boy.
and fight zombies. So
Swinging it around.
there you go.
And I'm drinking Founders Mortal Bloom. And it's just, I wish you could see the can. It's so beautiful.
It is so beautiful. Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
a hazy IPA.
Easy hype in there. We'll put those beers in the show notes for everyone to go out and if you're into this type of thing, go try them. So yeah, the multiverse.
Okay, now the
Get to your
list.
list. Yeah.
All right.
Let's
Well,
see
first
it.
let's say the multiverse. It's there's no evidence that the multiverse exists.
But
Correct.
there's no
Oh,
evidence
did you
that it
have
doesn't
That's
exist.
fair.
Is this how you had to
We're going
start?
to start there because
The
the
world's shortest
multiverse
podcast.
it suggests that the universe
Good
may
night.
just be one of many potential infinite universes. And the other universes may be similar to ours or vastly different, or they may even obey different physical laws. And so the idea has several roots in the areas of theoretical physics, cosmology, philosophy, but as I said, it hasn't yet been proven, so it's really a speculative field. So
It also hasn't been disproven, correct?
yes, that is
Good point.
I
It's
just had to
hard-
throw that one out.
Yeah, but you can't observe it. In order to test a hypothesis, we're starting out with this idea, but yeah, there's no
That's
way.
right.
There's
It
no way
hasn't
we
been-
could. Yeah,
There's folks
Not yet, anyway.
working on it and thinking about it. So,
Yeah.
but right, there's no direct evidence. So let's go there. And we can get into some of that. But I kind of want to just go right into my list
Please.
because it
What's
sets
your
everything
list?
up, right?
yes.
We're going to get into peer review of literature, and I just want to not Right. Nick always yells at me when it's going to become like a science lecture, and then Mary's, let's talk about peer review.
Let's keep it grounded, right? Yeah. Okay. There.
I am happy to do that, but
cite your sources. Okay. Let's hear it. Okay.
Yeah. So I went through and thought about the multiverse themes in literature and film, and I have 7. I think I have 7 on my list that I think all multiverse movies, books, stories fit into, and I think even the idea about the science ideas about multiverse would fit in these also. So framework. So 1 is the alternate realities and what-if scenarios. So that would be stories that explore alternate versions of reality based on different choices or events, and how one small change in the past can change all these other, have a ripple effect. We think
Butterfly effect.
The Man in the High Castle. And it's probably an example I had there. I have butterfly effect in a different category.
Oh,
so
do you?
I do indeed.
I felt like that one would have fallen under that one.
I think there could be a little overlap, and we can get into that. But let me go through my list. You guys like to jump in on a list before
I
I
thought
get
that
to
Let's do it. Okay.
infinite possibilities. So this is a concept of infinite number of universes, and each can have different laws of physics that are not directly tethered or mirroring the universe that you're starting in. You could have different and even different versions of individuals. A movie which George and I, we just watched is the Everything Everywhere All at Once. And so that was one where it has a multiverse where there were different versions, but also it didn't really, the different version obey laws of physics or, even what life looked like in these different universes. You have the multiverse as a means of escaping or correcting reality. So you use the multiverse to escape from undesirable realities or fix problems in your own reality. A great example of that's Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Mm-hmm. So that was where a scientist who is kidnapped into an alternate reality, then try to find their way back. And it's just a really fun one. And then the Butterfly Effect has that kind of thing where you're going and the characters change their past by assessing alternate realities, correcting this or escaping their reality. Interconnected universes. So these are multiple universes that are connected in some way, often with events in one universe affecting another. So they're directly connected. I think The Gods Themselves, a classic Isaac Asimov novel, and it deals with 2 universes that exchange energy. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Also, you have these interconnected, and Monsters, Inc. at some level. The doors serve as portals,
yeah, that's right.
And you have this kind of thing where they're taking energy, like the gods themselves, where you're taking energy from one universe and another. You have collapsing, overlapping universes. So universes that begin to merge, collapse into each other. Coherence is the example I have for that one. Identity and self across the universes. So this explores the concept of identity in a multiverse, questioning what makes a person unique when there are multiple versions of them in different realities. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is probably the most recent classic example of that. And then we have moral and ethical dilemmas of multiverse travel. And so characters face moral and ethical dilemmas when interacting with parallel universes and how their consequences affect others in these other universes. And The One, Jet Li 2001 movie, where the character was going through and killing his alternate selves to gain more power.
Isn't that just the Highlander?
The Highlander, though, the Highlander didn't go to multiple universes. The One was like a action flick.
Oh,
yeah.
That just sounded like Highlander.
No, the Highlander.
There can only be one.
It can only be one. But
They
that
used
was
that same line.
Right.
Oh,
They did.
They say no.
Yeah, there can only be one. That was the thing
was
that he
there?
kept saying.
It also comes to mind Octavia Butler's Kindred.
Yeah.
Right, because I think of that more like
Right.
time
But
travel.
time travel more
but
than
I think there's a
multiverse.
real
overlap.
overlap
that
of
one.
time travel and multiverse.
Yeah, for sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you create a new reality then. If you split off of that one, it creates a whole new line of time.
Right, but then does that original timeline still
Still,
exist?
even that's the idea that you would have.
The TVA trims them off.
Yeah.
And
So
from
you have this whole
Loki-
thing. If you go back, then changes you make in the past would affect potentially future events, and you can alter them, but you're still in the same technical universe, right? So
I
your
feel
universe,
like you're
I
in
guess it
the same
depends on-
universe, but at a different point in
Right.
time.
Exactly. So you're
Okay.
just going back into your own universe, changing that. And to Nick's point, could you split off then those decisions? So would you have the universe as is, and then a universe that was changed? I don't know. I guess that's
I feel like that
right.
does happen more in the comics, for Marvel comics,
Right.
where Cable is known to go back in time
Right.
and then
Right.
create a
a
whole
whole
new.
nother. That's right.
That was his
But it's not
thing.
necessarily parallel. It's a whole different reality. So you don't have both at the same time.
I understand
Right.
your
You
point.
see what
yeah.
I mean? Right.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
not,
totally. Yeah. Oh,
they're
yeah.
not.
I just feel like you
One
don't follow
replaces
that one
the other.
anymore.
Well, that's
Like,
what I'm
that's
wondering.
right.
I'm wondering
that
if that
line
one's
still continues because
Yeah.
those people have lives.
Right.
You don't just wipe that whole line out. You end up having
It's
a
almost like
split in the time.
Or is it a reset?
Because then I try to think, if there's the one timeline and you've gone, okay, for instance, in the Octavia Butler, if you're in the 70s and then all of a sudden you're back in antebellum South, then does that original one that was in the 70s keep going, but you've disappeared? Like they're all like, what happened?
I do feel-
It does talk there. I don't want to talk too much about it, but yeah, it does address some of those things.
I can't.
but
I don't
yeah, it's-
remember that exactly.
Yeah, there's things that she does that affects
Right.
the timeline going forward. But yeah, time
Because the
travel.
story was interconnected. Like she didn't realize it at the beginning
Right.
of Kindred, how she was going back and how that was connected. But I think that's,
So
that
one
would
of the
be
things I came across in talking about the multiverse is there's like my idea of the multiverse. I'm coming at things through literature and pop culture, and physicists are talking about the multiverse as possibly like the closer you are to the beginning of the universe, fundamental laws of physics that obey in our universe don't. There could be just like quarter turn to the left in another universe, and if you ever tried to go to that universe, you might not survive because maybe in this universe oxygen is poisonous or something, that kind of thing. But like physical laws, I don't know, like the first law of thermodynamics and
that's that infinite possibility.
Right.
That you're not bound by the constraints of your physical world and science and life, but any combination, anything can be possible.
Yeah.
That can happen in there and that you would have. And so that would be, but I think some of the ideas is the quantum kind of multiverse. We talked a lot about quantum, and that was a many worlds interpretation proposed by Hugh Everett, like 1957. I think that was there. And that every time quantum event quantum, you have this information. And so you have these you can split, like the double slit experiment, where light a photon passing through it, and you have this kind of experiment that was done at the university can split into different branches and representing different possible outcomes as you go through there. And that's the one, but still following the rules, obeying the rules of our universe as we know them. And that's with the time travel. And Nick, that's what kind of that idea that you would just start branching the universe off. So if you went back in time, you just create a new branch, and that branch would keep going, and you would have this kind of expanding world. And we talked a lot about quantum stuff in earlier episodes, so folks can we'll link those in there so that you can go back through. Then you have the string theory, or the kind of the string theory kind of multiverse, and you would have this kind of, there's all these points and like particles that you could have this large number of possibilities in a universe. And so you would just have this vast universe with different physical properties. And that's where, Mary, it sounds like what you're alluding to there. And you could have something like like 10 to the 500th power different possible universes in the string theory kind of idea. And each one would have their own different laws, or could potentially have their own laws of physics,
Right.
life, all sorts of kind of manipulations there that wouldn't exist here. So that was that everywhere, everything, everywhere, all at once, where you have this kind of idea that it could just be totally silly, big sausage hand, fingers, rock people. So that, you can have all these kind of interpretations of it. You have the different multi-versions, right after the Big Bang, then you would have just these bubbles forming after that, and these different bubbles layered within each bubble.
So it pretty much goes with the Goldilocks then. Like we just are in the perfect setting for our life. And with another timeline, it might not be the exact same way. So life would be different.
And that kind of goes with that anthropic multiverse. And so it states that the universe is the way it is because we observe it. And so if you have other universes not suitable for life, then no one would observe those. There would be an observation, right? So you only can observe it if there's folks here to observe it. So very life-centric.
Oh,
And
sure.
so
Yeah.
it would be that the universe isn't special, miraculous. It's just a result of living in one of the universes where conditions allow observers to observe.
But that,
And so, right, that's that crazy. We mentioned physics, but philosophy has a lot to do with, I think, the multiverse. When you get into it, that still runs that vein there. So
that's definitely why we're interested. And like to Nick's point, talking about the best of all possible worlds. A lot of sometimes people will like not. I'm not saying you are proposing this, but like so people who advocate for intelligent design think that why on earth a little bit this way or a little bit that way, and life as we know it wouldn't have existed. There must be a reason behind that. And it was funny. I was actually talking to a friend of mine about going on this episode today, and he also brought up the puddle theory. And I'm like, you've heard of the puddle theory. So like you see a puddle in the street and someone will come up to and go, wow, isn't it just amazing that there has just happened to be like this divot here and then it just collected waters and this and like the conditions were absolutely perfect for this puddle to form. And it's just how we see things. And like more to your point too, when we talk about the multiverse, I didn't really think of like quantum physics. I was thinking about what does your alternate self look like? Because I'm very human focused. I think about, I think we all have, right? We all have thought of what would one of your alternate selves be doing right now?
Probably dead.
Probably dead. Oh no.
I mean,
I'm glad you're in this one.
There probably would be some that have died or not existed. Probably just sitting here recording this podcast in some way.
Going back to the whole decisions changing different timelines. If you have a major decision and if another me did this, and it goes with, is this not the stuff that keeps you guys up at night? Where you're like, if I would have done this, what would have happened? And then you start going off with X, Y, Z.
Right, and that gets into the butterfly effect, right? Because then you have the smallest things, it'll have a ripple, and as you go through the ripple, so even though you change this, I used to have this whole thing where you think about the multiverse, and you go, this decision or that decision. Every time you make a conscious decision, you're branching. You imagine everyone makes a conscious decision all the time. We're branching even more. But some of those branches will just merge back into
overlapping.
Right. You won't deviate
tacos
much.
versus pizza.
Right. You're not deviating much unless going to get the tacos versus the pizza.
It's delivered.
And then you met the love of your life when you went to get tacos. You ran into your bully when you went to get, you can have all these scenarios that then you would have major splits, but those even can re-merge and you still have essentially the same universe timeline. So it didn't deviate much. How big of a decision?
So like rain on a window where you see all these different lines, and then the bigger puddles end up.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's right. They come back together. So that kind of what we're.
I want to get really
right?
personal. I want to get really personal, and you don't have to answer any of this. Do you have a decision in your life that you think about and you wonder what would have happened if you had made a different decision instead?
So many. Where to start?
Yeah, we'll just go around and.
Is this my therapy session?
I know,
Yeah,
right?
for
I don't know
sure.
what's happening here.
Yeah.
Rabbit hole of research.
Holy crap.
Play along out there in the world.
That's right. Think about sound off in the comments. Yes.
All right, so I'll
Sure.
go first. Where like I used to skateboard a lot back in the day, so doing all the stupid things I've done, there are different paths where it's all right. I missed something and I got hit by a car, or I went to school and I didn't switch degrees like 20 times. It's so many of those little paths where it's or choosing to go to a different restaurant over another one. Right. I didn't get hit. My car didn't get hit that one. All right.
I guess it was more. Do you have a particular? I mean, you're trying to drill into specifics, not the general.
Yeah. Do you have
Are
one
you
decision?
You decided not to street skateboard, and then
I didn't
a Mack
hit
truck.
by.
Yeah.
I've definitely run into car doors while riding a bike.
Right.
Just because
that wasn't a decision you made. What? Right. Well, you still live though.
Like
right?
a broader decision to.
Right, so
I chose to ride in the street in an area where I shouldn't have.
But that's what you did,
and
right?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like the decisions to do that.
But it worked out. You're still here.
Yeah, for the most
I
part.
think it's more like, is
Okay,
there
do you
something
have an
you should
Yeah,
example?
Joe, what do you got?
I don't what? I mean, you brought this question
Yeah,
up. Why am I looking at
You're coming at me with this one. Let's go, Joe. What you got?
I will answer it too, right? But I do. I'm curious because I think this is the thing that keeps us interested in this topic.
Yeah, no, I think what I mean is when you think about it, I don't necessarily re-litigate my life. So that's a personal
Man,
thing.
someone's really got their shit together.
No, it's
Way
it's
to
a-
say that, Joe.
I think what you're saying is
yeah.
if you spent time doing that,
Yeah,
then you'd be focused on the things that
Right,
you
right,
didn't
right.
do that you might
you're
have wanted
caught.
to
You're
do.
caught in some loop that's little self-destructive, and even so, I don't.
I feel personally
generally-
attacked on that one.
I'm going through it because it's like, what decision? You're asking, what decision would I roll back, and potentially still have the hubris that I would make it here to where I'm fairly happy, comfortable. I enjoy my career. I'm doing this great podcast, and folks are listening to it, which is
guys.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So I don't know which decision in that I could roll back, and then also think that because I made a different decision would actually ripple in my favor.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the way I think about it.
Well,
Just thinking about the
I-
philosophy, the science of it all. I'm like, I don't know what decision I can make, and that leads into regrets. If you ask me, are there regrets in my life?
But I think-
just
That's
like
what
you
it is,
wonder,
right? That's right. At
Well,
some level.
I think-
you just wonder. Yeah.
yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was
Sort
going
of.
to say, I think we tend to think of it more like regrets. Like, oh, I wish I had decided that instead of that. But you can also go back and say, gosh, man, I'm really happy that I decided to go with. Okay, that's an example. I got my teaching certificate and I was going to become a school teacher. And then COVID happened. And then it was like put on hold. But then I was like, oh, I don't know if I really want to be a teacher. And then I went a different path. And then I got the job at the library, and I'm happy about that. I look back on a lot of things about teaching, and I go, I'm really glad I went that path. It can be a positive thing,
Right.
Absolutely.
but a lot of times it's a
Yeah, you
Not
wonder.
so-
Yeah.
Whenever I'm like at a restaurant, I can't make up my mind. I'm like, the other Joe in the other universe is enjoying meal B, and we'll just merge back up later. But I have no access to that. But right, you start getting to that game where it's it's
Did
a
you
little
have
hard,
an
so I don't-
example,
yeah.
Mary?
What do you got, Mary?
Oh, sure. Well,
You're like, I got plenty.
oh yeah, I've got so many.
Nick
but
and I, we're gonna
I-
fly.
you're just gonna just tune out while I just go on. There's, I once I heard someone say that when you make a decision, you always wonder about the other, not
What could
always,
have been.
but you could always wonder what could have been. What happens is in the other universe, you're perfect and everything's wonderful. And why didn't you choose this other thing when you could have been
I'm sorry.
so blissfully happy? You know what I mean?
For you,
Like,
maybe.
so, because we think of that other decision, in that other decision, everything would have been perfect, right? It would have been
like the
we-
grass is always greener.
when it's right.
kind of
Yeah,
thing?
right.
yeah,
right.
yeah. We
right.
tend to
I
think
mean,
that is
I guess
the
you
better
got to
one.
quantify perfect because there was other job opportunities or things like that I didn't take or you don't take.
Right.
But you can think about how it would have worked out, but would it be more perfect? That's
Right.
You didn't choose it for some reason, and that choice not to do it, if you weren't pressured to do it, like it wasn't like, oh, I really needed to make this X amount of money, so I'm gonna take this kind of soul-sucking job to do it, then you would probably go, oh man, I really wish I could have done this thing and not had to worry about that. And those are different.
But I think that
So that
goes
might
to
be-
that goes to the fear of missing out, right?
Let's
I can see that one.
like going to concerts or something. Like, oh, if only I went to that concert.
I
I went
have
to that
one.
ASU game
Yeah.
where they pulled down the goalposts.
No.
I decided not to go. I forget which game what they were playing. They were going to win. I was like, they're going to get blown out in this game. And friends were like, oh, we got this extra ticket. You want to go? I'm like, nah, I'm going to go take a nap. I'll meet you guys at the pub and we'll drink afterwards. So I'm sitting at the bar, and this is in ASU, Arizona State, so in Tempe. And I'm sitting there just hearing this commotion going down the street. I'm like, what is that? And people rush in and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was the greatest upset ever.
Oh no.
So yeah, so I missed it. And I was
Yeah.
like, what? They were telling it. The goalpost goes walking down the street. I'm like, I was like, man, I missed this great. I think it was ASU. It was like first in Nebraska or something like that.
We'll put it in the footnotes.
I would have
I will look and try to find it. Yeah.
And this goes to your point I hadn't thought about, but if I have a lot of what ifs, that may speak to the fact that you might have some more regrets in your life.
I guess, or you have the Marvel what-ifs, right? As what if Nick and I were brothers?
You're not?
You didn't know?
Oh,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
My brother from another mother.
That's right. I share the same brain with a lot of people too. Yeah.
A book I really love is The Midnight Library.
Well, that's a good one.
Have
yeah.
you read that?
No, I haven't read that.
That's like a
I
multiverse,
really
right?
like it. Yeah,
Does
I
it go
feel
through all
like
the
it's
books
a
all about-
multiverse,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it goes
yeah.
right
That's
to
right.
the thing about regrets.
Yeah.
Because you go back and you think of all these different, it's like this whole library full of other paths,
Oh,
other
okay.
pathways
I
that
need
your
to read
life
those.
could have. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, I've seen that recommended by. And
That goes into the multiverse, correcting, escaping, or correcting.
And then the other one,
Also known as Final Destination.
don't
Final
even get me started
Which-
on Final
A
Destination.
multiverse film.
Oh, okay, but no, dude, Georgia has the part two too.
I want
what
to go
you
to
were
this
saying.
thing
Yeah.
here. This is exciting. Go
Yeah,
fight. No.
Okay.
it may
Georgia,
be,
then Jay. Okay.
it may be more exciting than my thing, but I also think, along the same way as Midnight Library is, It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
I think
yeah,
that's almost
exactly
a
right, yeah.
parallel universe because you get to see the life that would have happened to all these other people if this person hadn't
The
existed.
tragedy of Mary becoming a librarian.
I know the
That cracks
horror
my
It's a
cracks
Wonderful
me
Life.
up so hard.
Nick's
Okay.
probably thinking, because we had an earlier episode, I do regret that we got that wrong in an earlier episode.
You
So I wish we
regret-
could
It's
go
not a
back.
Christmas Carol? I thought that was.
That's right. That's what you did in the other episode.
Oh, it's called.
That is wrong.
You called It's a Wonderful Life Christmas
Or
Carol?
something,
Oh,
yeah. We had this
that's
whole thing. It was like one of
fine.
our quantum. It was like the quantum.
Blends
And then George
together.
was like, I got to be on there more often.
I was gonna
Like,
say
you know.
this is why I need to be on here
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
because in the other universes where I'm not on here,
Which you can go and listen to.
That's right. In this universe, they are available wherever you get your podcasts.
That's right.
Christmas is always my blind spot. I tend to forget which ones are which.
that's okay. I'll
They
forgive
all blur
you.
together for
That's
me.
it. I actually got it. 'Cause we watched that one quite a bit. I couldn't remember it. And we're in he's Christmas Girl. I'm like, oh yeah. No, I was like, on the
Christmas
cell.
Carol?
No, it was the other. No,
Interesting.
Miracle of 34th Street.
No.
That's what it was like. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because Christmas Carol
Christmas
is
Carol
also a
had-
parallel universe.
Okay.
Because
Carol's time
the
travel.
future one,
Is it time
he's
travel?
It's true.
showing
That's
you-
what time
Or is it the
travel.
multiverse?
That's time travel.
It's
It's
not,
not a
but
different
it's not
universe.
set in stone
Only
yet.
your mother knows for
But if you
It's
time
how
travel to the
that
future,
person
see, but
decides.
if you go to the future, can be changed, right? We learned that in Terminator. That's not. It's not set in
But
stone.
if you put that under the multiverse,
But it's not a different universe.
umbrella,
It's not a different universe yet.
it
But is
technically
it though?
is.
No,
like-
it doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
But it
So if I-
does, and it continues on.
No, it
then-
doesn't. It was a preview of what life could be if you don't change your ways.
But if it doesn't still exist, then the whole events don't happen.
No, so what really could have
Because then
happened? No,
sending
if it was a
someone back
multiverse.
that is in a
No, listen
certain
here.
line, then it doesn't branch
Hold
on.
on,
It just
I'm gonna break
dies.
it down. If Scrooge would have rejected the future vision and carried on his life to that future, he could have taken comfort that a different version of Scrooge became nice. Right? So you can go you can still go to bed easy. Scrooge could still went to bed easy
Well,
if
I
he
don't-
believed
I
in the
don't buy
multiverse
that.
because
No.
he could his life.
By that
No.
because
That's it.
because
You live
you're
your life
still
and you go,
a jerk
oh,
in this
I don't
one,
know.
so
but that's all right. But then
I'm
you
gonna be
could
forgiven just because
no,
of some
he-
other
he's not,
multiverse.
he's not looking for Scrooge doesn't look for forgiveness. He would forgive himself and go, you know what?
Joe is the fourth dentist.
The Scrooge in the other
3
life.
out of 4
the
dentists
Scrooge
say.
in the Scrooge in the other universe.
This happens all the
right?
time.
Mary, this just goes to your question, your point, Mary.
Yeah, yes.
That if you're thinking about that, one can take comfort in the fact that in a different universe, you did make that decision. And, right, and you're living that life
I am-
in the other universe, right? You could take some
Sure,
philosophical
sure.
comfort. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to believe in the multiverse, then why not go all in? Shove all the chips, bet on black, baby.
The sum total of all the decisions that I've made in my life have brought me to this moment right here, and this is really great.
But you
Yeah,
when you were
and
just asking a question about
Yeah,
changes, and
Sure.
I'm saying how you take comfort in those decisions you might
because I
are
know
thinking about changing.
because when you think of the different ways that your paths diverge in the wood, I don't have, there are some things I wish I had gone to college and studied Russian instead of going to another school, which is very nice, and studied biology. I wish I'd gone. I wish
What
I
you
had.
talking about, Willis?
Yeah, I
You didn't
wish
want
I.
to study biology?
I wish I was a little bit taller.
I know I love
I wish I
studying.
was-
This is not one of the main regrets in my life, but I wish I had been pulled more into the orbit of a teacher and a dear friend of
Right,
mine.
right.
And I think I miss maybe more of that really than the subject. This is actually,
Yeah.
I'm just having this revelation right now. Thank you.
The first rabbit hole of
right.
research
But you
breakthrough.
also-
Yeah, I did. I had a
right, here
breakthrough.
it
It
is.
didn't cost me anything but a beer.
But you also have you now can take comfort that in this other universe, there's a Mary who is doing that. Right? Doesn't that make you feel good?
That
That's
makes me.
lovely.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
No,
it
John.
does make you
Yeah.
feel good. It's
Aw.
like a
That's what you
They're-
write
right.
about. That's the
what I'm
story.
talking about.
That's
That is
the
whole
story
thing,
that you
right,
write.
That you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
That's in the Miracle. No, was it Miracle 34th Street?
No, it's
No.
a Christmas Carol.
Oh, it's a wonderful
It's a wonderful
life.
life.
It's a wonderful Christmas
life
Carol.
was the opposite. Is that he was shown
34th
what
Street.
life would be like without him in it, and he was shown that other universe,
Yeah.
and he did not like that universe. But one could enjoy their universe,
Mm-hmm.
yet be shown a different universe in which it's pretty good, maybe marginally better, and
That you're not around?
choose
Wait,
and
what?
you're not there. And
I don't know. It's
we all listen now.
if you had a clone and then the clone like had a really great life and was wealthy, and I
You're
don't think
giving
I would.
away. That's a story, I'm right?
Oh, sorry.
I'm telling you things. You're on the air like, hey, I got this great story.
Oh, fucking
I gotta edit that out now.
A separate person. I don't think even a separate. Okay,
But would you
like,
not be happy for yourself?
No,
You'd be
if
like,
it
God
was
damn
me-
it, I hate that
I mean,
version of myself.
Can you kill the clone after the fact and be like, I'm taking over
All
this?
right, you gotta
but-
read the
Never.
story. All right, stop.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I
let's
get- I
talk
see what you're
about
saying.
Dark
Yes,
matter.
right.
Let's talk about dark matter.
The Blake Crouch.
The Blake
let's
Crouch
go through.
TV
Not
show.
dark
I don't
matter
know if
as
you've
in the
seen it. Okay.
understood
But
90% of the universe that we
the
don't see. Or,
character in Dark Matter, he at one point gets to meet face to face with basically himself from a different
right, yeah,
parallel
right,
universe.
Right.
And I think he feels bad for the guy and he cares about him. He looks the same as him. But I don't think
The-
when it got right down
yeah,
to it, he just
yeah.
cared about himself. He
problem
didn't care
is
about you know
He
what
was
I'm saying?
kidnapped. So anytime you were taken, he was enjoying his life, right? And I think that was the thing. It started out where he was in a place of enjoyment, and then he was taken out of that enjoyment and put into a life that A didn't understand. That was his alternate universe's life. He didn't understand that life. He would have been successful and wealthy in that life, but he really enjoyed his family he had in his life. And so that was the conflict of the story
But
there. What I'm
but
saying
my-
is that what if he got to know, it is interesting because he actually may have regretted not becoming the theoretical physicist and doing kind of great things or according to his other reality, great things.
Are we spoiling this?
No, I'm not. I don't think. No. I don't
Spoiler
think we're
alert for
spoiling it.
everything. Hey, let's spoil it for
We're not
fi-
spoiling it. So you
Yeah.
have it. And so I just want to finish the little
Okay.
thought out.
Okay.
And then if he was shown that, oh, in this other reality, if you made these decisions, Tree, you would have actually figured out X, Y, and Z and made this great discovery. And okay, oh wow, that's really cool. And you feel some comfort in that, oh, this would have been possible. I would have done that. But I really enjoy what would I have given up to get there. I would have to give up my family, my kids, my wife, really dedicate myself to my research in that life. But I really enjoy my wife and my kids and the life I have, even though I'm not like the superstar scientist. And I think if you have that kind of modality there and you were presented that, but you were shown that glimpse of what your life could be and you made that decision. That's the thing with Scrooge. He then made a decision. He could have said, you know what?
Wouldn't you
In this other
also have
universe-
the idea of trying to have it all? Have your cake and eat it too.
And it will spoil
Trying
the
to
dark
get-
matter if we go down that
Oh,
path.
yeah? Oh, I've never
that's
seen
it,
it.
right? That's kind of.
Man, oh golly!
I was giving some alternate. I was trying to prove my point, but yeah, you're going to spoil it now. I got.
personally, I'd be
Let's
like,
go to Final
well,
Destination. That's older than 20 years, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's older than 20 years
Let's
old.
totally spoil
I don't know,
Final
is it?
Destination.
I
Yeah.
think it's older than
I
20
think
years.
the first
Yeah.
one came out at least 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think
oh
so,
no, yeah, I think
I
they've
think
all
they're
come
been
I
a
think
while,
I've
yeah.
only seen the first one.
They were like early
This is where-
2000s, right?
Yeah.
This is where Death is really OCD, anal retentive, and has to clean up in exactly the same order that he left everything out in. If you were supposed to die this way, then you're supposed to die in this order, and you're supposed to be in this order.
I see some anger happening here.
It's just so
We've
dumb.
gone from-
It's so silly.
Some form
I
to
know.
some form of life.
I just imagine like Death cleaning up. I had everything just perfect, and now I have to go back and do everything just the same way.
Yeah.
And you switch places, and now I have to kill you in this order. And now, I
Hey,
know
I get it.
Seen a
If
movie.
Dad has
Yeah.
an OCD,
That's exactly what it's
that
like.
is what I need.
yes,
What?
and
Death
Death
is
is really
in
worried
Final
about getting it
Destination.
exactly right.
These teens need to start dying. That's all.
These particular
escaped
teams.
death.
Georgia, the look on your
Yeah.
face. Georgia has a look of
Teenagers,
shock
come on.
and dismay.
Well,
She's not going to feel good
All
about it. Joel.
we do this all the time.
All right.
The
Do we need to
idea
regroup?
and concept, I'm trying to do that now.
Okay, circle back around.
That's it. Let
Era.
Mary cool down. She's
Oh, no.
drink a sip of beer too.
I want to recommend a short story that I really enjoyed that I thought about when I knew I was going to do this podcast. It's The Word Processor of the Gods by Stephen
wow.
King. It's
Okay.
from Skeleton
Yeah, yeah,
Crew.
yeah.
I
Oh, yeah,
really,
Skeleton Crew's good.
yeah, it's really fun. And
Yeah.
if you're lucky enough to get it read by Frank Muller, so much the better. He was such a good.
Did he do this an audiobook version? He's a personal friend of yours. And read it one night at your house.
He
He calls
wish.
her up every
That's
night
right,
to
yeah.
read him.
Oh, but gosh,
Well,
that would be great. Now
hold
that's
on.
service.
Nick, you're making. I was.
Oh, I know.
I was at a show, right?
this is what I was-
What are you guys
Oh,
talking
no.
about?
So I was at the Printers Row with copies of my book, and I'm selling my book. And this couple come up, and they're like, they're talking about the book, and they're like, oh, they have an audiobook. Or I'm like, no, I don't have an audiobook yet. And yeah, I'm working with a small publisher. And they're like, oh, okay. And they're like, would you be willing to call us every night and read a chapter?
Oh my God, that sounds
And I was
amazing.
like, I don't know. That's the pressure of it all.
That sounds like a new
Dude,
story.
what am I saying? Call them up. You're like, hello, this is Joe Austin. Tonight, chapter 5. It just
And
felt
now-
We
weird.
charge
The shipping
20
And they were
cents a
all
minute.
like, and I was like, this is I'm becoming some part of some multi-universe fantasy, and I don't want to
Oh
be
my
in
God,
it.
that
so
sounds
that's
amazing,
where
actually.
that's what Nick was, I think,
No.
Oh,
referencing the whole-
100%.
I would have been the devil on your shoulder. I would have been like, oh, totally. I would have been
Yeah,
reading to
no.
them every night. Yeah.
That seemed like pressure.
Well,
I don't know. Yeah.
if-
$1
Okay.
per minute. That's all it
Yeah.
costs.
So now let's,
Yeah.
but yeah,
But
we're,
I was gonna. I'm
We're-
gonna
Frank Muller is no,
Yeah.
not a personal friend of mine. Very famous. This is early on in the days of audiobooks. No longer with us on this plane. Maybe somewhere else in the multiverse. He's out there still narrating audiobooks.
I mean, but what? How old would he be?
Oh,
So, yeah,
no,
it's-
no,
yeah.
no idea. But
Okay, we'll put
he-
that in the show notes.
Mary has no idea what she's talking about. You could put that in right up top.
Well, no, if he's going to be like 150 years old, then he probably wouldn't be
No.
on some other multi-universe
No,
plane.
that's
Have
no,
to
it's
have
true.
some-
He would be pretty
Yeah, yeah,
long in the
right,
tooth,
right,
but
right.
Why not? Why can't there be a universe?
Yeah,
we haven't-
there you go.
We haven't
Wow.
done that episode yet, but
Yeah.
some people think there are bounds. As we're constructed, we become cyborgs or something, or we get cybernetic implants, which we
That'll be a whole
episodes
nother episode.
coming out. When episodes come out?
my knees are next. I want to
Did
get
it already?
cybernetic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on. What are you doing?
I'm not
You're-
looking
you're
at the
being
board.
me. You're being me now.
Oh my gosh!
All right,
Final
Brandon.
Destination. Let's go for it.
Now I was gonna go. I like to talk about
Sure.
like the earliest point of concept.
Mm-hmm.
And so one is we think about mythology and religion. We had the idea of the multiverse, just not called a multiverse. You had Norse mythology and the 9 worlds. You had the Hindu concepts of infinite universes. So you had all these kind of philosophical, religious kind of ideas. In fiction, the early example I could find or reference was The Man in the Moon, M-O-N-E, in 1638 by Francis Godwin.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
Then you had the unparalleled
Was it
and then you
recorded?
had the unparalleled
Spoilers. Come
adventure
on.
of One Hans by Edgar Allan Poe, which played with the idea of other worlds and alternate universes. So you had I like going through And then you had, as you went through, then you had H.G. Wells, Men Like Gods in 1923. Then you had the kind of the golden age of sci-fi.
That one, right?
Isaac Asimov. No, that's...
That is called, I
Yes.
think that is called The Man in
Yeah,
the Moon.
To Man in the Moon.
But
It's
I
not-
think that's different.
Yes.
Different one.
Not
That
the
is
same
different.
one?
Yeah, no.
Oh.
1638. They didn't have moving
Well,
pictures.
they could have adapted it like everything
Yeah.
else.
Isaac Asimov, Philip K. Dick with Man in the High Castle, the guys themselves. So you had that, and as you went on, in the mid 20th century, you start getting into the 60s. The multiverse becomes a thing in the Marvel comic universe, and so they introduced. My research, they introduced the multiverse first, just so they could keep themes alive. No one's ever dead in comics, right?
Everyone
They'll
comes
come
back.
Yeah.
I.e.
right,
Robert
so-
Downey Jr. as
He's
Dr.
coming back.
Doom.
Yeah, there it is. So
He's coming back.
Yeah.
he is coming
Can I-
back.
can I-
Break in
Yeah.
here first.
Can I share a story about Endgame?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I don't really know a lot about MCU. I know a little bit, but one of my nephews, he went to Endgame and he was wearing like his Iron Man pajamas.
No.
So that was a hard day. So
Yes.
yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
Infinity
but-
War,
but-
you mean?
Or Infinity War,
Yeah,
whatever.
Endgame,
yeah.
they actually. I don't want to spoil it.
No, actually, I think he actually saw. Yeah.
You're right, with
yeah.
RDJ, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
Endgame, yeah.
Yeah, he was a big Iron Man fan.
Well, a lot of people were sad after
Yeah.
Infinity War also because of what happened. I don't want to spoil what happened at the end of that, but
Josh Brolin's going to come and mess you
Yeah.
up. No, I
know
forgot
what
to
it's
talk
like to
about
lose,
words. So the reason I think is
desperately that you're right.
the
Fail
word,
nonetheless.
but the word processor of the gods. The cool thing about it is I love that it's called word processor because it shows you how old the story was written.
Was it a brother?
What is a word processor?
Word processor. Mary's laughing. She knows that
You really don't know, Nick?
Anyway, so it's
It was like the transition between
computer.
typewriter and
And computer, yeah.
It was like a standalone. And Brother was like I think they had the most popular
Like
brand of the
Brother
word processor.
printers?
Like Brother printers, except
Okay.
it was like you had you put a little 3.5 floppy in, or 5 and
or
a quarter.
5 and a
That's
quarter.
right.
It's probably more
Look at
5 and a
George's
quarter.
face.
It's really
Yeah.
just a computer.
What happens when he would
Early.
write sentences on this word processor and then they would happen.
Yeah.
Oh, that,
And
yeah.
he would
Interesting.
he would write something and delete it and that person would be deleted.
Oh, I
So like
like.
Stranger Than Fiction?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
so Will
love.
Ferrell. I was
Yes,
just thinking,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
Is
really
it
good.
Hacks or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
similar
yeah.
in that?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
really,
you
yeah.
have to see
yeah.
that.
Oh, okay.
It's really
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Sorry,
it,
No,
I'm
that's
just like,
cool.
wait.
Yeah.
it reminds
Sounds
me
like
of
the
that.
same concept.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Billy
Then they
indeed,
took
yeah.
it from yeah, absolutely. That same concept. You can write something down. If
Yeah.
you erase it, then in this world, he erased that person or he erased that scene. And I love a
That
good
sounds-
Stephen King
yeah.
short story. That's where he shines. And
That
it was a
sounds
really good one.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think the other
Yeah.
area where, and this is I think we have regret. We were talking like regret and other decision trees. The other interesting one, and George, we just watched a movie, is the multiverse and grief. Because you do have this kind of the emotional side of it, that these kind of what ifs, what if I did something different that would have led to someone prolonging their life or other things like that. So you have these kind of themes that you can play with the multiverse.
And that was the movie Parallel,
that's right.
and that was a 2024 movie that we just watched.
All right, Joe, I have a question. Would the Mandela effect fall into this?
Yeah, because I think
Like,
that's the idea of it, right? That things
jumping into
right,
a
that's
different
right. We
universe.
that they have changed in some way. Some small thing has changed in this universe that now we could uncouple. Yeah, no,
Because that is
Indeed,
something I
indeed.
fell into
Indeed.
reading up on this. I did
right.
research, Georgia.
And there's a movie too, Mandela.
There is a
Effect.
movie. Yes.
Are you referring to the movie
No,
too,
I
or
did not
just,
watch the movie.
Just the
Yeah.
concept.
It was just the concept of it where it was
Right.
like, people are like, oh,
And
this is not
it's
the
interesting.
Berenstein.
You also have, I think you run an interesting line there because you also have the idea of alternate fictions. We were talking about the For All of Mankind and things like that, where you have that alternate fiction that we would read as an alternate fiction could actually be an alternate universe. And so For All of Mankind, if you don't know, is an Apple Plus TV show where Russia lands on the moon before America. And that kind of changes the whole dynamic of the space race. And so you have this thing where there could be a universe where Russia did land on the moon first. And so it's this alternate fiction, but really you're talking maybe an alternate universe and things like that. And so
would that also go with any story could be a story from an actual place?
sure.
Like that whole idea is,
Yes.
you look so
I
lost.
agree.
Yeah, I can say I don't believe you. But like that whole like, all right, Middle Earth.
What's Middle Earth? Come on, will you stop it? I said I would watch Lord of the Rings after the season's over, which we're barreling towards the end, and then come back strong next year. So leave me alone.
No, that's
People, leave me alone.
Oh my
We're gonna
God.
have a whole big watch-a-thon at the house.
The amount-
So if we're gonna invite people over, so
Oh,
just hit me up.
I'm already inviting myself over.
Yep, Mary's coming over.
Yeah, I'll bring more to bloom.
Yeah.
Derail more podcasts.
I'm watching outside with the solo stove and a foot of snow.
We'll
melt it down.
That sounds perfect, actually.
I love my solo stove.
No, it's
But the idea that could be an actual place in a different dimension.
Yeah, well,
or
that's one of those
reality.
ideas,
Like,
right? We had the ideas where
Now
you,
we're getting a little
Yeah.
carried away now.
Who,
Well,
me?
that-
you know,
Well, I wanted to one of your points
I'm
that
just
you made.
kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
One of another short story that I was listening. I didn't realize that LeVar Burton reads is no more. It ended earlier this year, but one of the short stories he read was something called "Different People" by Timothy Moody.
Okay, yeah.
That was cool because there's something earlier that you said about where we're different people, or something that Nick
think it
said
was
about the rivulets, and they all come down to a single conclusion.
right.
And the story "Different People" made me think about that. Like,
Yeah.
like you can have this alternate. This person is conducting this experiment, and it has the same conclusion over and over again. And she keeps chasing through different alternate realities,
Trying to
meeting
get
the same
there right,
people.
and you're going.
And this time, this time she's going to get it right. And it's cool. It's And then the people that she interacts with have their own other ideas about what this multiverse may mean.
And you had that. You're right. The multiverse and time travels, fictional stories, have that kind of. And there was that Spike Lee one where she kept going back to save her brother from cop violence, and she kept going back trying to stop the event.
But then
and
other
little things would keep
happen.
happening.
Like
This
each
is the
time.
idea that each time you go back. So these are all these. So really, the time travel, when you think about time travel, are you traveling back to your own timeline, or are you traveling back to a different?
Well, that's what we were
But
talking about.
also, if you listen to the time travel episode, we say backward time travel. It might be hand waving forward time travel. So are you forward traveling, like in the Scrooge scenario, to a potential multiverse timeline, right? So you have this whole thing where you can construct this whole really weird thought game. And Nick is
Deadpool 2, I think, actually does the timeline like being split, because with Cable, he ends up staying back in the past, even though he's changed the future, because he knows that his daughter is safe. That was that whole. That's why he didn't go back, because he was like, "Oh, I can use this to save Deadpool instead of going back to the future, even though the future's changed." I think it is. I feel like a lot more media has skewed over to a multiple.
right. Yeah. I think you get away from the hand waving with time travel and multiverse kind of.
It becomes
Fits
a whole
right,
different
yeah,
type of
yeah,
hand
right,
waving,
right.
but I feel like it's easier
Probably
to explain.
more believable
than-
because people make decisions. I think this Mary's thought question earlier about decision trees. I think folks all live that, and so you relate easier than a DeLorean that goes 88 miles per hour or whatever. So, and you rough up, I don't know, terrorists to get plutonium.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, we covered that in our time.
I'm not even touching this one anymore.
No, I think that's where you have it, and it can become super fun.
I was going to say something. I can't remember. I was going to. There's something to this effect. Oh, geez.
Yeah,
I hate when that happens.
oddball ones. Some
Yeah.
oddball
Yeah.
multiverse. Wizard of Oz.
Oh, Wizard of
Wizard
Oz.
of Oz is a definite multi-universe.
Well, how about Wrinkle in Time or Star
Wrinkle in
Trek?
Time.
or just
Alice in Wonderland.
anything where
was
like
Alice in
warp space.
Wonderland? Was it a
Yeah.
different universe, or was it just a different plane of the same universe?
Are you talking about drugs? Are you talking about drugs, Joe?
I am not.
We could be.
As we're sipping our IPAs.
Well,
Yeah.
But
But
no.
yeah, I think
I
that
think
would
she
be
just
an
goes down a
alternate
rabbit
universe.
hole, right?
Yeah.
She went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Shoot people.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, she
Chase that white
literally went
rabbit.
down a rabbit hole.
I think it was LSD. That was the rage back then, right?
I feel like there was a lot of drugs in that movie. That whole story was just drug-ridden.
But
yeah.
looking, we
I
can
mean,
read stuff
then
into
you
it.
could
Yeah.
go into a whole nother tangent about drugs opening up these other.
Portals in your mind, right, to other universes.
All right, guys. What
There
drugs
it
are we
is.
talking about now? Shrooms.
I don't know.
Who's...
Is that like LSD? No, right? Those are hallucinogens, right? All right, we're getting somewhere. My other one I had on my list
Yeah.
is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and that one's super interesting because it was done via memory alterations, and so if
And
you
that's
alter someone's
exactly-
memory, would you then be able to? Would they live a different reality?
That's exactly. I was gonna say that. I was gonna say
I'm pointing my pencil at Georgia as she says this. So I'm like,
no, because I think
Stabby.
just the fact that we forget things, or maybe it's a story that we've told several times, but as it changes over time.
that's right.
But then, what is the real reality? So that's a form of
we also are, as humans, we're designed to enjoy story. And so
Yes.
as we tell stories, we do tend to embellish here and there certain facts. So as you forget all the little
The
details,
fish was this big.
you begin exactly. And it's one of those things because it's a much more exciting story as you go through it. But that would be technically a different reality where
Right.
maybe you did catch the giant fish.
I caught a
This
mermaid
reality
once,
caught
guys.
us a little one. Yeah, you caught a mermaid.
Yeah,
I saw the
uh-huh.
pictures. It's awesome.
That'll be up on
the show note.
Any other universe, they're called the footnotes, but we call them the show notes here in our universe. Yeah, no, I think that's
There was a Twilight Zone,
the Twilight Zone. There we go.
but I can't remember the name of the episode.
Come on, Georgia.
So that has
I'm
to
not looking it up this time. Last
No,
time I
that's gonna
found
be
it
in the
out.
show notes, but it was actually really cool. It's
Or you
like
could save it for the mini episode.
it's
Whatever.
like
There is the
okay,
mini
it's where
episodes now. That's right, people. Don't forget about the
I
mini
love
episodes.
I
yeah.
love the mini episodes because it allows people to chime in and hopefully they hear their comments on the podcast. It's a really great way to engage your audience.
Yeah, so please write in. That's why we do it. So
I have a list of complaints. No, I'm just kidding.
That's why she wanted to come on the show. She's got complaints
I
for
have
you,
notes.
Joe.
yeah,
No, I'm loving it. I'm having such a good time right now. Thank you.
awesome.
Yeah.
We aim to please,
back to Twilight
especially
Zone.
in this universe.
Okay,
Yeah. Sorry.
In this
Other
universe.
universes, no. No pleasure at all. So, Twilight Zone.
no, it was this really interesting episode where this astronaut went up into space and then comes back.
Just older than 20 years. Can we spoil it?
We're not spoiling it, but the whole I guess I'm spoiling. I'm just talking a little bit about it. And then he comes back, but then as he's walking up to his house, we didn't have that fence. That fence wasn't there. So these little things were different. And then then it was the whole interesting thing about did he go out and then, is this someone from a different parallel universe that actually came back? It's really interesting.
Yeah.
And then where did the other one go?
They might have
They
actually
switched
addressed.
over.
They
or
might,
through there, right.
no, they might have actually addressed that on the episode,
Did they?
but I'm not saying.
There was that. What was that? Apple Shell. Never mind.
Yeah,
You
so
and
it
this
was-
apple?
No, it was very similar to that Constellation show
That's it. Yeah.
that
Yeah,
which I
see?
actually
There it
really
is.
liked.
Yeah.
But then it went
No,
off.
I-
It went off the rails. Like I liked the beginning part.
But it
from
was a.
It was a
the
very
whole idea
similar.
was that
It was a similar idea.
there were two pathways and they swapped universe, the reality, multiverse universes. So
I can't believe that I've gone this long and I haven't mentioned Sliding Doors yet.
It's not.
sliding doors.
Yeah, it's
we
a
have
movie.
a sliding door in a basement studio.
There you go. Yeah, Sliding Door.
We do. We indeed. Literally.
It's a-
have
I
sliding-
resisted from that one, Joe.
It's
I
a
don't know.
movie, but it's a
Maybe
Gwyneth
we swap
Paltrow
places.
movie.
Quiet, Joe.
No,
Oh, sorry.
no, it's a Gwyneth Paltrow movie. It's really good.
Oh,
I know.
I
It's,
haven't seen that.
so
no.
And
it's
it's about
it's at least 20 years old. It's
multiverse.
she in one universe she catches the train. In the other
Sounds
version she doesn't.
familiar.
She just
Yeah.
barely gets in, changes the whole course of her life. And the next one, she misses the train. And you get to see those lives
Oh,
just
that
running in
sounds
parallel.
familiar.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a good movie.
Nice.
Nice. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah,
Just put it
Sliding
on my
Doors.
list.
It's good.
Legit just put it on my show list of, all right, things I got to make sure I check out. Or
Yeah, I
else
know. It's many years before she was the Goop Lady, right? It's a good movie. Yeah.
And then
always been Goop.
I
Yeah,
wanted
she's always
to-
been the Goop Lady.
I wanted to bring up Nick Cage because it's
Oh, jeez.
Is it the movie I'm thinking of?
Wow.
The Family Man.
Oh, no.
So the Family Man,
The
where he
Family
swaps.
Man
So
is
you have all
basic-
these
The Family Man is basically like Christmas Carol, isn't it?
Christmas Carol.
I have to see that.
No, he goes.
Tell
he
me about
swaps
this. I don't know
into-
anything about this.
He's like the wealthy executive, and he like just made his way up, power moved. He like dumped his girlfriend at some point in time, and then he really is focused on his career. He drives a Lamborghini, I think. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. And apologies to Nick Cage. Please come on the show and correct me.
Your basement nights might not survive the onslaught.
Yeah, in another universe, Nick Cage is on the podcast.
He's actually me and Seth.
Different
Nick.
That's right. We're hosts. That's right. Yeah. But
Okay,
then he
but
goes.
can
Then
I
he
get-
swaps over, and then he
He
lives the
sees-
life where he actually wakes up, and then he is the girl. He has 2 kids. They're
Like
yelling. He's
he
super
picked
poor.
that path.
And then he goes, the
Isn't
interesting
that
thing-
like
Well,
Christmas Carol? Or It's a Wonderful Life?
That's right. But then
Okay.
he goes.
I don't actually know the plot of
and
it,
then
Georgia.
they merge back because what he does then is he remembers all the skills he had to become this business person.
Spoiler
And he
it.
goes
I think
and
you're
then
about to.
has
Oh.
he
I think
starts
you're about to
go,
spoil
it's
it.
over 20 years old.
Yeah, the mousetrap has never been spoiled.
know.
Anyway,
So,
no,
but
what-
yeah, that was one. I think
Yeah.
that also you have these really weird issues like that where he actually lived a life. So you got to see both lives and then how they re-merge.
Hmm.
That was this idea we've been talking about, this re-merging of lives and universes.
How about
And he goes, I didn't spoil the end. You don't know what he's going to do
Okay.
because he gave a
yeah,
lot of
that's
money.
probably it. Yeah.
how
Yeah,
about
switches
Freaky
famous.
Friday?
So
Is
that's
Freaky
Face Off.
Oh,
That's a
Freaky
different.
Freaky Friday. Yeah, you're switching perspectives, but you're still in
Yeah,
the
you're
same
in the same
universe.
universe.
So
though.
that's
You're in
not
this- no,
multi-
that's not.
But- But if just in
Universe
case,
is no.
just in case Nick Cage is listening, you never know. Thank you for making Mandy. That was such a good movie.
All his horror
Yeah.
films have been
Man-
fantastic.
But Mandy is, I can forgive a lot after seeing Mandy. That's just perfect, no notes.
Cage is
I love
awesome.
that movie
He's
so
a-
much. Yeah. Yeah.
He's a fan of ours on the show. At least
Yeah.
mine. I don't know. I can't
I-
speak for all
He's
the
a
other.
fan of ours, or we're a fan of him.
We're a fan of him.
I don't think he's a
What did I say?
You said
should
he's
be
a fan of
you.
ours.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
you.
yeah, you did.
No, I'm gonna replay this back and see what I really
He's gonna
said.
edit it out just so he can make it sound like we're crazy.
And that's a different
Yeah,
total multi.
We're a fan of his.
We're
We're a fan of
we're
his.
Nick
We're
Cage.
fans of.
We're
or
Nick Cage
some
fans.
of us
Yeah.
are fans of
Yeah.
his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, whatever.
In a different
You gotta say
universe,
you're what I
he's
say,
a fan
Marley.
of ours.
In this universe, he's probably a fan of ours. He's probably listens to Rebel Research. I bet.
Because you keep sending it to him on a
He's taking
CD
it right now.
You're like, here.
I didn't give him the Ultimate Alien Award, but he hasn't done many Alien movies. But I'll find an award for him. That's what I do here.
So
Don't worry about Mr. Cage. I got your back. Yeah, no, I think that was the simulation theory that we're all living in a simulation.
I
There you
wouldn't
go.
count that as a multiverse. I would consider that
Well,
one as
Yeah, I don't think.
that one goes down a whole different hole.
One right.
Yeah,
I think
I
you
don't
have
know.
it
Because
I
then
don't
you get
think that's
under
multiverse.
Matrix area.
But because you're in a computer universe, then you could easily explain the multiverse, right? So if
Yeah.
you're trying to find a scientific, and you're right. I think we should do a whole different episode on because you're right. You have a lot of different
Because then that would
fictional
go under
themes and
video
everything.
games in
Right,
general.
Exactly. Yes, like a Sims kind of situation. But
Truman
you
Show.
you do have multiple universes as you play the Sims. You can pick different paths, right? Because as
How
you
about
go and
choose
do
your
things,
own
so-
adventure?
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Choose your
So,
adventure.
I like to just put my Sims in pools and take the ladder away and let them
I
swim.
don't know what you're doing over here.
Oh,
Stop
man.
it.
That's just wrong.
Stop
Well,
it,
you
Scrooge.
don't ever have them stuck in a room that already has a fire
Wait till
going?
the ghost of Christmas future visits you. They're going to set you
And you
straight.
sleep at night?
Like a baby.
They're going to
Never.
set you
That's the way
straight.
you set up the sleep episode.
That's why. Do babies not wake up constantly and
Screaming.
cry?
Yeah.
They do.
And
They actually
Why do you
sleep
think I'm
really well.
screaming constantly?
Yeah.
Speak for your own.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other on your list before I have a few other multiverse kind of idea movies and shows that I like. Do you guys have anything? We're getting
I just want to I wanted to just chime out too. We're going to do that at the end too for folks that are listening to this. God bless you if you listen to all the way to the end. But if you do, what are the
Don't listen to the end.
I
just-
only
you
listen to
just-
the first
yeah,
5
yeah,
minutes of
yeah,
any
exactly.
podcast.
What are your favorite? Yeah. What are your
Let us
favorite
know what
Yeah.
your
multiverse media or multiverse theories? But I want to hear about more of yours, Joe.
No, I was just going to clean up and give a few thoughts before we end this whole. But Rick and Morty, they cover multiverse. They go through it. I had Donnie Darko. That's a really good one.
I thought that was multiverse.
It was multiverse. It wasn't
I
time
thought that was
travel.
time travel.
No, because it was really there was the universe where the incident happened and they escaped.
Someone's gonna yell
and
at
then
you for
there's the
this.
one where he didn't escape.
It's probably gonna be Jake Gyllenhaal.
I'm gonna say that. He's welcome to join us on the show.
He's gonna tell you how wrong you are, and I can't wait
That
for
one.
it.
But no, it definitely is a multiverse kind of situation. There were two paths that happened. They were parallel to each other. So that was one. And then Umbrella Academy, we just finished season 4. So that
Yeah,
had this
definitely.
kind of multiverse because there was a different Umbrella Academy cruise and the two different ones that were set up. So I had that.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah.
Jeez,
If that's spoiling it, then I
gotten
don't
that
know.
far in the show.
Now you know what to expect. In this universe, you got it.
I think that's like in the very beginning.
Yeah, I think it is.
Oh,
So-
is anybody else?
It's been spoiled.
Oh, is anybody else
Episode
here like a
1.
Mystery Science Theater or a Riff Tracks fan?
MST3K.
Yeah. So how about Time Chasers? Have you all
Time
seen that one?
Chasers.
This was like I want to say season 8,
This feels like a time travel thing, but okay, let's go with it.
but it's time travel and multiverse.
If it was Chasers, that would be.
Multiverse Chasers.
That doesn't have
quite-
it. That doesn't have
time-
the ring.
Yeah, but actually, Time Chasers is one of their better movies. That some of the movies they watch are god awful, but
They're great, every one of them.
But Time Chasers, there really is. It gets a little messed up in the third act. The editing is a little wonky, but there's actually a solid story there about just he's invented a plane that can travel through time, but then he ends up selling his idea to the real SOB, and things go downhill from there. So he's running in parallel tracks, but he's trying to get back to where they used to be before.
Get back
From the dystopia.
Get back.
Yeah. So
I don't know what's
The
happening here,
place.
people.
What
This
happened?
is-
What-
we are-
what happened? I
George
know.
has
Now,
officially had
I
too
would-
much.
Yeah, we don't
Ninja
have the
versus
whiskey.
unicorn.
No,
The Journeyman's
that does
coming
remind
out.
me of
Is there a
yesterday.
Journeyman
Did
coming
you
out?
see yesterday?
Okay. What?
Yesterday, where he hits his head and then
That's right.
and then
That's an alternate
like
universe.
the Beatles didn't exist.
Oh.
Yeah.
What a universe!
What's
Yeah, it's
It's a movie.
What?
It's a
Oh,
movie.
yesterday. Oh, yeah.
Yesterday. Not yesterday, as in
Oh, I actually
in
have
our
you seen
universe yesterday, the movie yesterday.
I haven't. No, I saw one scene on YouTube, and it
That
made
was
me
enough.
cry.
Oh,
It made me cry.
I
It was
thought you
it was beautiful.
I think
it
it's
was actually a
good
wonderful
movie.
thing.
Yeah, I think it's a
Alright.
really good movie.
Yeah.
So that was one.
Yeah.
Joe, what's your favorite multiverse movie?
It's my favorite.
Ooh, one of your favorites.
No,
So-
I want the number one.
The best.
The one. No.
No, don't say that.
Oh, my.
I do enjoy it.
It's-
It's so fun.
It's
I don't
not
know.
bad. It's not bad.
Well, it's got a lot of
It's cheese.
problems.
Well,
yeah,
it's got
I know.
some
So what happens when
Yeah.
you say it's the favorite? Somebody always has to like poop on your thing. So yeah,
That's
I'm
right.
not gonna.
I-
I'm not
I'll
gonna
go
poop.
with,
I'm not
you
gonna poop on
know,
your thing.
One of the stories, it's not a movie, but book-wise, I'm going to go with the gods themselves. There's Isaac Asimov, I think that was pretty solid, and the themes in it, and you think about it, it doesn't beat you on the head. This is a multiverse story, but when you read it, you go, oh yeah, that's a multiverse story. And he does a really good job. And he does big, grand ideas really, and I'll leave it there because I don't want to upset the Asimov fan.
I have a
Mary's
question.
like-
I have a question. No, yeah, no, you're not going to upset. Have you ever had somebody come up to you and say, "Have I met you before? You look really familiar."
Constantly.
All the time
Yeah.
we do this
I
podcast.
don't remember
Yeah.
who anyone is
Yeah, just somebody can say, "You look just like
all the time.
somebody." Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The amount of people that say, "Oh, I know you," and I'm like, I have no clue who you are.
Oh, okay.
Please, I'm scared.
What do you?
Usually I just say, "Oh, it's another one of me running
It's a
around."
universe, right? The
Yeah.
you're like in
Yeah.
the other multiverse.
For
that's
sure.
Me. See, that's that whole. That you get that comfort that you have a much more popular version of yourself in another universe, right? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think that's what she
No.
said.
Oh, God bless you, honey. No, you know what? My dog is mostly interested in me because I provide her with a good meal a couple times a day. That's all that matters. My popular with my dog. There you go.
Hope
That's
so.
that's
In this
it.
universe, you're
Yeah,
popular.
yeah, that's it. And
Yeah.
then that's that. My dog comes first.
So what's
Yeah.
your go-to multiverse film?
Multiverse.
What's
film.
my go-to
Or- did I give one?
multiverse?
I did
Oh
I give
gosh,
a
there's so
movie?
many.
I think
Yeah,
I said
did
the
you?
book.
You
Yeah,
got
I
a
did.
book.
I gave a book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the,
sorry.
yeah, the
I
book
was
one.
like-
Yeah, just a lot of the ones that I mentioned, like I was going
Already.
through Sliding Doors or Word Processor of the Gods. I love stuff.
This was like the gods themselves, the word
Mhm.
processor, the gods. We got a lot of
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think
God's
that's
tinkering.
because you see God as like
puppet
up
master.
above.
What are you doing? There?
Yeah.
She was trying to do the itsy bitsy
George's
spider.
miming like she's holding like marionette
I
sticks
know, yeah.
over.
We
you
gotta
know.
get video on this
Exactly.
joint pretty
Yeah.
soon.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, Nick, what's yours?
Me, I am a big comic book fan, so I think I was really happy with Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a
Like,
good one. Yeah.
They
That's
did a
good.
good job with
Really good.
bringing in
Yeah.
different versions, and also you see how the artwork changed between each dimension.
Right.
And
That's right. And identity, who we are going between and how we relate to ourselves.
and how
in
each
That's right.
one of each version had a different
Yep.
life.
Except there was that sense that was in every one of them.
Thread of
yeah.
and
There was,
honor and
like-
all the core characteristics live
Yeah.
through them all. Yeah.
Which is so
Yeah.
cool. And in the comics, they definitely do.
Yeah.
They go more in depth where it's, oh, we're chasing and you see this Peter that has no powers and
It's interesting.
he's still trying to do the exact same thing.
Maybe we'll get to Georgia really quick, but this raises a good point through the multiverse that we often see, and that one's interesting, where they're evil Spider-Men
Yes.
in there, but they weren't in the multiverse lobby. In a comic, there are, because this is, are you core
Spiders,
good,
man,
or are
is-
you core evil per this kind of global definition of good and evil? Because with your multiverse selves, because the event that turned you good or maintained your goodness or led you to badness or evil, if that changes in other universes, then you could meet up with yourself who isn't a kind person.
Yeah.
Or who that's a Scrooge idea. I don't want to harp on that idea where you have these kind of things where you could have two versions of Scrooge living, one where he is decent and honest and he does really good things, or he's a total a-hole.
I feel like in whenever they do the next film, I think they're going to end up touching on that a little bit.
yeah.
But in the comics, they definitely have
Yep,
some
yep,
evil
yep.
versions.
Yep. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
one
Is that
of
the one
my
with the 8
favorite.
arms?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Man
Oh,
Spider. And
yep,
then
yep,
there's
yep, yep.
Spiders Man, who is
Yeah.
just
Spiders,
yeah,
man,
right.
like
It's
attorneys
with
general.
It goes in. They have all that
It's
comic
just
where he
all
bursts
spiders.
open. Oh, that's one of the grossest
wow.
comic.
it's a bunch
Pages.
of spiders who
Yeah.
go together to
That splash
make a
page. That splash page is incredible.
You
where
know
he goes.
exactly-
Yeah, I definitely.
I
oh
just
yeah, if you can
shuddered
find
with
that,
all
we'll
my
put that.
might.
We'll put that link to
One
that.
of my
That is one
favorite
of the
pieces
best
of
splash
art.
page. Yeah, no, that is
Holy
incredible.
shit,
Yes,
that was
yes.
just
yes. That is
horror
Yeah.
inducing.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah. Totally know that.
And I'm the first person to take the little spider, put a little cup over him, and take him outside. But like the idea of
Yeah, we'll link
Okay.
that in the show notes because
Oh,
that
my
is
God.
one of the most incredible. That's those splash pages of that is just in the comic speak. It is just really you're like, what is going on? When it just all
Love
those
it.
spiders. Oh,
love it.
well,
Georgia?
Georgia, come on,
What you
Oh,
got?
I
bring us home.
She's gonna say the Twilight Zone.
Hey, you could do a lot
Twilight
worse
Zone.
than the Twilight Zone for sure.
What's my favorite apocalypse?
That's why-
Twilight Zone.
I mean, that's my answer to everything.
Well, when you
Twilight
think
Zone.
about like the breaking your glasses at the end of the dystopia, and I remember talking to my mom, and my mom was really upset. They're trying to say that it's wrong to, I don't know, break your glasses. I'm like, no, it's just you have to live for the day because you never know,
Right.
you know.
That was a twist,
Yeah.
though, right? Also,
Yeah.
but he could take comfort that in another universe he had his
gosh.
glasses.
Or he could just pick them up and use them still.
He
guess,
just looked
like,
at a little head. I
He
mean,
could find
he
them.
could have found. He could have taken a broken chunks and found a new glass or
Oh.
something. It was
But
pretty
Yeah,
devastating.
and then after when the credits roll, he checks his other pocket. He goes, "Oh, thank God, there was
That's
the
right.
other." There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
it's
yeah,
fine.
he was
There
all
you
right.
go.
Yeah.
But most of the time, we just have a hard time. He'll just hold it away from him.
That's right.
Most older
He
folks
was
are
really. He was
Farsighted.
like fairly blind.
Yeah.
They
Like, I
were,
mean, he
like,
was like, yeah,
really
he was. He
thick
couldn't even
ones.
see like large structures in front of him because you can make
used
your
to-
way right.
Yeah, he could have used an
And
audiobook
I
from
don't-
Frank Muller,
What
I think.
happened? I don't know what type of destruction happened, but it was. I don't know how
It was
that man
pretty
was
solid.
living.
Does
He
he
should have
compare-
been
how
like.
does-
I think he had other problems than.
Then reading. Yeah,
eyesight.
yeah.
He didn't care.
Clean
He wanted
water
to
is
go.
probably an issue.
Yeah, he comes out there. I don't know radiation levels. That place was just devastated.
It was
So, I mean,
Fallout
it
level
was-
destruction.
This is what happens
That's
when
true.
you bring up Twilight
Sorry.
Zone.
We're going
I love the
random-
Twilight
all right,
Zone.
Let's
Yeah,
get back to the
yeah.
multiverse. Or what you're going with that
Yeah,
Twilight
okay.
Zone episode? What do you guys? What's your? You just watched this last night, so was that your?
It was a few nights ago.
But that was your like. I'm gonna watch a multiverse movie. That wasn't.
No,
okay.
but I can't even think of one right now.
All right.
No, you all were talking about the Apple TV, like the one where the cosmonauts landed on the moon
Right.
first.
Dark Man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do
a
you
few-
really
bunch
into
of-
that one?
Yeah.
I've thought of a lot of them,
Yeah.
but now at this moment,
Wow.
in this universe,
now that the spotlight's
I
on.
can't. I can't.
You had a little bit to think about
I
it.
love It's a Wonderful Life. Well,
There
there
it is.
you go.
There
Yeah.
it is. It's a one.
Even though Mary became a librarian. That's
It's a
that's
wonderful life.
That's a damn shame.
I don't understand this reference. So sorry.
Have you seen It's
We'll
a
watch
Wonderful
it.
Life?
Oh
We'll
yeah,
watch it. We got
in
it.
the bad timeline.
Nick,
You have not watched
we're gonna do Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
It's a Wonderful Life.
you're gonna love it. It's a
Christmas in
Wonderful Life.
Connecticut.
Yeah.
It's Christmas in Connecticut.
Oh, you're gonna love Christmas in Connecticut.
I'm already hating this.
Oh, let's watch like a
I
ton
love
of Christmas.
Connecticut.
I
That's
love
like
Christmas
one of my
movies.
favorite
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
Then you gotta watch Die Hard. We gotta do Trading Places. Those are all Christmas movies.
Okay, that's another podcast, and I do not think that Die Hard is a Christmas
It
movie.
is indeed a Christmas movie.
It's a movie. It's an action movie that takes place at Christmas.
That's all the movies take place at Christmas.
Nah, no.
The
Yeah.
Hawkeye show.
And Trading
He was-
Places
he
is
was-
a Christmas
yeah,
movie.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take Trading Places.
Well, how do you take
as a-
that and not Die Hard? You're just trying to draw
And
some weird line.
I'm calling it.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause I
Yeah,
think
we'll have
this,
that-
we
that'll
have
be
to
a
All right,
table
we'll come
that.
back to this
episode
one.
for
We're
sure.
coming back to this one.
Oh yeah. I'm ready for this one.
All right.
Pull on the gloves.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Yeah, that's in a different universe.
Yeah,
that- yeah.
I'm gonna be spamming YouTube with all of the stuff that I can't think of now.
Another
That's
thing.
why we have the mini episode. Well,
Yeah.
we can revisit, and we'll if
For
you let
sure.
us know, we'll throw that all in. Nick and I, we do
Sweet.
that one, and
Okay.
Georgia joins us. We'll throw it all in for
Oh,
you,
awesome.
and to make sure people know your true thoughts in this universe, not the other universe.
I keep
that
them so well hidden.
You can access. That'd be a cool superpower. We have an episode
Oh.
coming up on that.
Yeah.
That you could access your other multiverse persons.
Isn't that America Fair? Or America Chavez?
Mary Chavez.
I-
I've never seen
She's
that.
we'll talk about it.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
my
Don't come
favorite.
up-
We'll
yeah,
save
I don't
that.
wanna- right.
We'll save
there's-
it. Yeah.
We have an episode coming up
Yeah.
that's going to be the Best Powers episode. So that's
Oh, that's gonna be
that's
so
a couple
fun.
episodes from now.
Yeah, I'm looking
Nikki
forward
got
to
so
hearing that
hard.
one.
Oh, I
Yeah.
wanted to ask
Yeah.
you: are there people that are researching multiverses?
They're all
yeah.
in this room
Like-
right
Yeah,
now.
no, that is
No,
not
but
true.
like
Yes.
scientists,
Yeah,
that's
no.
what
Oh, yeah.
they're
I
dedicating
yeah,
their life
they're-
to. And then how will they prove it? I just
That's
really
really-
Right.
can't
I mean,
really.
you have to think about, I think you're looking at incidences that happen that correlates to the multiverse kind of idea. But there are people who are studying space-time, the fabric of space-time, wormholes that may interconnect space-time, so that you have this
Space-time.
You think of this fabric, space-time as this fabric, and then wormholes are going through creating structure.
Right, or
And
fold
as
a
you go
piece of
through these,
paper
Yeah, I
and
mean, so
then-
you have all these kind of constructs. There are kind of folks studying this.
Okay.
And there are groups of astrophysicists and physicists who really think this exists. and there's evidence for it, and then you have groups who are against it. So you have really, truly science playing out at this level of finding evidence. And we were joking about peer review earlier, where they're testing or trying to test or make observations of things that are happening in the universe that may lend itself to the idea of the multiverse or not.
Okay.
And so there are,
All right,
not
sorry,
directly. I don't
just-
think I'm a multiverse
Georgia, you
scientist.
saved this question
but
for
they
the
could be,
end. You
right,
realize this,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
But they
it's a
are,
good,
yes.
it's a
Yeah.
fair
Yeah.
question.
Kind of at the
Yeah.
very
No, yeah,
last
but
minute.
we touched a little bit on this earlier, but there
Okay.
are folks, and there are these kind of ideas that you could, but there's a for and there's against kind of argument.
Okay.
So we
All
didn't-
right.
Yeah.
We'll end up touching on this again, I think.
Definitely. I
This
can throw
subject
some of
is
those links
so
into the
wide.
Right. I'd like
Yeah.
to see that.
into the show notes.
Yeah, it's a fun topic to ponder. Thank you so much.
Well, thank
For-
you for
for-
showing up for
Mary,
this.
Yeah,
thank you
for
for
inviting me
coming
on.
out
And
Yeah.
joining us
listening.
here.
Yeah.
And
Having a little therapy session. Hopefully
Yeah,
people played
yeah.
along and thought about their things they would have done in a different
It was-
universe.
if you need
and-
us to
Cheap at twice the
to
price.
call you
Yeah.
at night so we could read to you,
Yes.
we're
Yeah.
open for that apparently.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that sounds like
And obviously, I
that
missed
sounds
some
like
sort
a
of
plan.
business opportunity. I could be reading people my novel at night. I don't know.
That's how
I will
Yeah.
read you
I
random
love-
menus.
I love in an alternate universe, you've developed like this really cool platonic relationship with this couple, and you've written several books. You just keep writing books so that you can
That's it.
keep reading to them, and
I'm glad. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
we got to keep this
eventually
clean. I
you
like
just
Barry's platonic
eventually
here,
you're going
right?
into
This is-
public domain at some point because you can only write so many hours in a day,
Yeah.
and it's good stuff.
Well, I think we should
And
end
on
it
that
there
note.
for this after dark episode or something.
my-
Yeah, right.
Or you keep it.
So if you're still listening, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you
And
so much.
We thank Mary here,
Georgia.
with
Yes,
Joe,
Thank you.
Nick,
Hello.
you have Georgia, and
And of
this
course,
here.
Joe, the instigator of all this all. Yeah.
This is another
The
episode of Rabbit Hole Research
instigator.
coming to you from this universe and many others. So,
We went down some holes.
holes. That's right, people.
What do you know about holes?
Bye bye.
You guys,
Have you ever
stay good out
composed
there.
a whole book?
We love you. Holes.